is Miguel Myers. Welcome to My Horror Confessional, where every week I will have a guest come on and talk about one classic horror movie that they haven't seen and why. We'll discuss the movie, the actors, and probably get off topic quite a bit. Once I believe that they have properly atoned, I will absolve them of their horror movie sin. Today, we have Zach Chapman. Let's get into it. So, this movie we're talking about today is Leprechaun. Alright, if you want to know who Zach Chapman is, fucking listen to episode 2 that we did, which was
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th, and then also episode whatever that you did, Zombie. Right?
Zombie.
By popular demand, he's back. He's the sixth man. He's coming off the bench all the time. I appreciate you, Zach. What's been going on with you? How's comics?
Comics are just always being created by me, but never published by me. So maybe at one point in the future they will be. Next year, I'm writing a Kickstarter for a comic book anthology horror series called House of Blood. It will be early next year. I have 12 out of the 13 stories completely finished. I'm waiting on the very last story. And once I get that done, I'll be compiling it. I wrote the script for the Kickstarter movie, or like the Kickstarter ad. And yeah, that's what I've been doing.
And the one that you have been sending us artwork for recently, that's not going to be in the Kickstarter anthology. That's the Mars one.
Okay, yeah. So that one I'm getting really close to pitching. I actually just finished I typed end on the final issue of that last night, and then Rory Coleman, who's the artist, he's the pencil and inker. He's starting that this week or next week, and then
the final issue.
And we still haven't, we don't have a publisher, but it's.
But you
really
have interest.
Oh yeah. We do. We have publishers that are interested, and we have publishers that will publish it. But I'm trying to go for like the best publishers, like Image or Boom or something like that, versus the smaller publishers. I would rather. I mean, at some point, like what a lot of our friends say is like, at some point, if you get a small enough publisher, you might as well just do it yourself. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to the art that you've been showing is amazing. Your scripts that you've given that I've read, your other comics you've read, Bog Night is awesome.
Well, anything with Little Marco.
Yeah, that's true.
Which you've written a Marco story.
And we wrote a Marco story, and we actually finished that as well. So we got the art back on it it's called
Haunted Rental. And then we might just publish that like as a standalone, like little floppy
because it's 14 pages.
It's 14 pages. I feel like that's like good enough to, one, it will be really cheap, and two, it would be nice to like sell something really, really cheap at Max booths, like Max Con.
Ghoulish Fest.
Ghoul Con.
Ghoul
Max
Fest.
Con.
Yeah.
Perpetual Con.
So we've talked about slashers, and then we also talk about zombie movies. This is a Leprechaun movie? Or what genre? Is this also slasher, do you think? What would you label this movie as?
I would label it as a slasher. Well,
a slasher with a mythical element or like a fantastical element?
Here's why I would label this a slasher. It doesn't have like a body count that a slasher would have, but it does kind of like has like this kind of Goonies feel or something. Mm-hmm. But it is kind of a rip-off of Nightmare on Elm Street. Like it in some ways, where it has like this magical character, and then there's like parts as we.
So the Leprechaun. So we're talking about Leprechaun. So obviously, you're confessing your sin that you've never seen Leprechaun.
Okay, hold. Back up real quick. Okay. What's the concept of this podcast?
You come on here and you confess your sin of not having watched the movie.
A classic.
A classic horror movie, yes.
Okay, and you're telling me that Leprechaun from 1993, starring Jennifer Aniston, is a horror movie classic.
I'm not here to gatekeep. All right.
All right.
You chose this movie.
Okay.
Actually,
you motherfucker. I'm being gaslit.
Zach stepped in at the last second for somebody who didn't choose this movie. But hey, he chose to be on the episode.
Okay, just a little bit so y'all understand my frame of mind. I watched this earlier today while I was working, just so we could get this in on time, because this got to go to press. This is hot, and we got to get it done, and so we got it fucking done. So I watched it while I was working. I'm sorry, but it's fresh on my mind.
So Zach, why is Leprechaun your favorite movie of all time?
I mean...
Okay, why do you think this particular movie, Leprechaun, passed you by? Why didn't you see it? Do you not care for... Is it because of little people representation? You didn't care?
I get jealous that I'm not being... Okay, so...
Zach is height challenged.
I am...
Zach is average height.
Okay, I'm below average height, but not too below average height. Okay, so...
Yeah, but he's got some muscles, boy.
Let me pop this shirt off real quick. Yeah. All right, so I think the reason I haven't watched this movie or hadn't watched it is because it always struck me as like a real B movie, and it is like that was an accurate like assumption of mine.
I would say so, yeah.
And honestly, it's not as bad as you think it is. I think what drove me away was, like, just all the negative... Like, that's what I was saying. You usually do classics. I would say this would be considered maybe a cult classic in some circles.
It's a cult classic, or even a B-movie classic. Like,
yeah.
I don't want to only just do...
No, I get that. Like, it is a classic in that it's, like...
Like, how do you define classic?
Exactly. Like, exactly. It's not good.
I did Dolly Dearest earlier.
Yeah. It's not good. It's not particularly creative. Like, there's no... It doesn't do anything new. But, like, there's a spot for it in the pantheon of slashers, right?
Shitting on the movie out the gate.
There's so many sequels that I think that's why it's a classic, because it has endured. Like, it has like
a ton of sequels. Yeah,
so.
I think there's like 6. I haven't seen any of them, but not even like Leprechaun in the Hood or Leprechaun in Space. Like I didn't want to see any of those, but I've heard that they're fun. They might be fun to watch with a crowd.
I bet you they are, and I would. We'll get to that. Yeah. We'll get to that.
So there's a term called cryptids, which is like animals that we believe may exist somewhere in the wild, but they're not. But mainstream science doesn't believe they exist.
Bigfoot.
It's like Bigfoot or
unicorn.
Nelly, the
Loch Ness monster.
Yeah. So, but is the leprechaun human, or does it fall under a cryptid? I don't know, but
I think it is a cryptid.
Okay, I have some information about that.
Well, this is my argument though. Yeah. Well, whatever you're gonna say, I'm gonna trump it, because Bigfoot. Oh, is it a human? Is it the missing link? But Bigfoot is the de facto cryptid. Mm-hmm. So therefore, a leprechaun
ipso facto,
absolutely
right.
A cryptid.
Absolutely, okay, a cryptid. All right, so then we can say this falls under, I would say, not the slasher genre, but a cryptid genre.
I think it's porque no los dos.
Wait, you look me straight in my eye. So what is your experience with cryptid movies? Like, so what would be a cryptid movie?
Bigfoot movies?
Yeah, like, what's a Bigfoot movie? Would Jaws be a cryptid?
The Last Unicorn. Is that a cryptid movie? Jaws is not a cryptid movie. Jaws is a animal attacks movie. Jaws is like Grizzly, or Grizzly is like Jaws.
I've never seen Grizzly. Alright, Harry and the Hendersons? Have you seen that one from 1987?
No.
starring John Lithgow. Okay.
That sounds cool.
It's a heartwarming like family drama, but it's good. It's fun. What do we got here? The Mothman Prophecies.
Haven't seen it, but I'm interested.
Okay. A lot of these are just children's movies, so that didn't really help me out that much.
Thumbelina?
Don't know what that is.
That was the bomb when
Prophecy.
I was like...
Alligator. What's the one that came out a couple... No. Well, yeah. If Alligator's on there, why wouldn't Jaws be on there?
No. Alligator, those are feral animals. Those are different.
Sasquatch. Legend of Boggy Creek. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, those are cryptids.
Okay.
Like, a giant version of an animal is not a cryptid. Unless it's like 50 feet tall.
Whose podcast is this?
Alright, look. I'm going to start gatekeeping.
The Meg.
Wait,
the Meg's on here. Alright. We're off. We're already off the rails here.
The Meg is its own... the Meg is some prehistoric shit, right?
Yes.
Alright. We're out.
So...
Is the Meg magical, Miguel? Does it have magic powers?
Watching it was a magical experience. So, Leprechaun from 1993, written and directed by Mark Jones, starring Warwick Davis, who was only 23 at the time. He looked like an old man. He was 23 years old at the time.
I don't fucking believe that.
Yes.
He was 23? How old was he in Star... No, you're lying.
He was 23 at the time.
You are fucking lying. I'm about to whoop your ass, bro.
Warwick Davis.
It doesn't make any sense. Was Warwick Davis like 10 years old in Star Wars?
He wasn't in Star Wars,
Yeah, he was, you piece of shit. Was he not? I feel like he 23? Yeah, maybe he was 23.
He was in Willow. He was in Star Wars. Oh, shit. No.
Oh,
Wait, was he in Star Wars, like one of the later ones? God damn it. Where's Star Wars? God damn, I gotta find it before you do.
This motherfucker's 51, so I think you're right. Because 93, what is that? He's born in... he would have been 23. The math!
He was in Phantom Menace. You think about which came out in 99, which came out after this movie.
Yeah.
You dumb piece
shit, you piece of shit.
Alright, we need to reel it in.
I know, they put a lot of makeup on and made him look old, alright?
And in her feature film debut, Jennifer Aniston, 1 year before her breakout role as Madeline Drago Cooper in the beloved CBS comedy Muddling Through. Everybody knows it. It's a classic, so we don't have to talk about it. So, we start in what looks like a dungeon. The moonlight shines at the top of the steps. Slowly, we start to see a very sensible pair of clogs with gold buckles coming down the steps. Do you have a pair of these clogs?
Oh, you making little people jokes. All right. Zach's a leprechaun. Oh, I haven't heard that one before.
The gain on this mic. Zach has been drinking, people, so I apologize. He's
had half a beer, but he's a little person, so...
In the clogs are some calf-length white socks with green stripes. Then into the picture comes the titular leprechaun. He's wearing red shorts and green velvet button-down vest with gold buttons over a long-sleeve white dress shirt and a green felt top hat with a matching gold buckle. The leprechaun continues down the stairs, stops, turns, and seems to snap the moonlight off. That was also something we can talk about later, but I didn't get his powers. His powers were everything, it seemed like.
Yeah.
He could do anything, and yet he was being trounced by...
There's a scene where they just beat the shit out of him.
Next...
I mean, do you understand... Here's the thing. It's like the powers are whatever narratively it needs to be. That's why I'm saying it reminds me a lot of Nightmare on Elm Street, where it's like the powers are the powers of dream. It's like a dream. Like he can just sometimes do stuff.
Well, I understand in Nightmare on Elm Street, when you're in the dream, you're in his world, and so the rules of our world no longer make sense or don't no longer apply. But the leprechaun is in our world, and so they don't really explain. They do not explain what his powers are, other than anything he wants.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of vaguely mentions his power returning to him. So, like, he gets more powerful the more gold he has, maybe. But they don't really explore that.
Yeah. And maybe they go into it further in the sequels. I don't know. So he says, the leprechaun says, in this very unsettling, sexy way, as we see him sitting next to like this pot that's filled to the brim with gold coins. Then he goes Def Poetry Jam on us, and he says, Zach, do you want to say his...
No, you can go ahead and read it.
He says, try as they will and try as they might, who steals me gold won't live through the night. I think that was pretty good.
Oi, governor!
Oi! Hello!
Hello, governor!
We then notice that he is being illuminated by the literal end of the rainbow. It's actually a really pretty scene with the top hat glittering in the light. He laughs and fondles the gold coins with the hairy, long-nailed, deformed hand. Then we change scenes to a limousine driving down a deserted city street at night, and then we see the same car out on a country road, turning off onto a dirt road at dawn. I have a question for you. Have you ever been in a limousine before? And if so, for what reason?
Okay, this is going to sound really weird. Well, yes, I've been in a limousine twice.
Okay.
One was for a literary award that I won. And I'm not joking.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not going to get into details, but it stars L. Ron Hubbard. All right. The other time, which is probably less interesting, but I will go into more detail because it's less of a humble brag. I was in like 4th grade, and there was this really rich girl who invited the entire classroom to her birthday party, and her birthday party was at Mr. Gaddy's. And
pizza?
Yeah, Mr. Gaddy's Pizza, like Gaddyland.
Yeah.
Like, right? I mean, that's.
I've never been there, but I see they're just like Cece's Pizza or something.
No. But there's a Gaddyland that has like a little inside part that's like an arcade, but big, like. Okay.
Like a Chuck E. Cheese.
Yes, like a Chuck E. Cheese.
Would you say, or on the same level as Chuck E. Cheese, or a little bit?
Slightly geared for a little bit older.
Okay.
Little bit older, but not much.
Okay.
Right. So, anyways, she had a birthday party, and like no one, I didn't know. I show up at her house, and they're like, "We got limousines, and we're going to Chuck E. Cheese, or not Chuck E. Cheese. We're going to fucking Mr. Gaddy's." And then, as party favors, they gave out jewelry. They like literally, like I remember I got a sterling silver ring in like a little party gift bag, and it turned out like her parents like were jewelers, like literal jewelers.
Okay.
And she like I guess was super rich, and like she won it for her 4th grade birthday. Like there were 2 limos. There was a limo for like the 4th grade boys, because I was just in her class.
You weren't even a good friend or anything.
No. Like, I was a total loser. Like, I didn't have any friends. And I just got invited because I was in the class. So
was it because of your neck, do you think?
It was... I didn't have the big neck back then. Sorry. That was... I had yet to start that journey into...
the football team.
Yeah.
Yo, so how do they know the kid's size and ring? They just throw random...
Yeah. No, it was random. Okay, and that was a whole thing because I was like, it didn't even fit around my thumb because I was a tiny 4th grader.
Yeah.
And so I like gave it back to the parents, and then they swapped it out for a tiny one, and it fit.
Damn.
Yeah, like I don't know, it was wild.
So then that means 2 separate limousines, right? One for
2 separate, yeah, one for the literary award. What did the girls get? I think the girls got like. Jewelry, also like legit jewelry. Yeah, mine was like a kind of like a religious. It was like a James Avery like cross ring that had like a cross kind of in it. But anyways, so stupid story. But yeah, I have been in a limousine. I was gonna say I think that this scene is one of the worst in the entire movie. It's like the guy found his gold coin. They found these gold coins, and is like, now I'm rich, and I'm gonna take a limousine home. Like, that's, like, the writers are just, like, scratching their brains. Like, how do we make this guy act like he's gonna be rich? Oh, well, he'll just take a limousine to his house.
Yeah.
From, like, wherever the fuck he was before. And his wife is, like, aware of how stupid the writers are. And she's like, why did you bring a limousine home? It makes no sense.
Well, first of all, you didn't ask me if I've ever been in a limousine.
Okay.
And the answer
It's your podcast. You're asking the fucking question.
And the answer is I have never been in a limousine. So I kind of just wanted to ask that question so I get a little bit of sympathy. I was so close to being in a limousine for my cousin's wedding. I was maybe early 20s. And like everybody was going to get in the limousine after the wedding to go take pictures. And I put my foot in. And then they said, oh, there's not enough room for you. You got to take your own car. I was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
And to this day, I still haven't been in a limousine. So, not even for my own wedding.
Well, you can fit a lot of kids in a limousine.
Right.
So.
And none of y'all, wow. How do you know that, Zach? That's a problematic.
Because I was a little kid in a limousine.
I'm not getting a limousine with you now, Zach. So then we do get the title card for Leprechaun. And I love that Warwick Davis gets the top billing, even before the title. And then, like you were saying, there was this old guy who's wearing like a light-colored suit. He steps out of it. He's swigging a bottle of Jameson.
Classic.
Nasty.
Classic, though. Because he's Irish.
Because he's Irish, right. Or Scottish. Cut that.
Don't. Cut it.
Cut it. And he just throws his bottle on the floor. And so we already know he litters. He's a fucking asshole. And then he walks towards the house, and his wife is there, and his wife is like, "What the fuck are you doing?" She says, "A limousine? What in the world has gotten into you, Mr. O'Grady?" So I don't understand. Like if I was that old, he looks ancient, right? Although people in the like that generation, like the greatest
like they
generation,
age weird.
yeah,
All the cigarettes or something. The pollution in the air.
It's all the asbestos.
That's what it is.
Yeah, they ate that like cereal. But he's old. He's 60, 70 years old, maybe, possibly 80.
Yo, no. That guy was like 50. He just looked that old because it was in the 90s.
Yeah, that's true. And so but he's been 50. I mean, he's been old his whole life. He looks like he's been a little bit well off. I mean, he's got a house in the country. It's not like ramshackled or anything like that, but you could tell he's wanted to have more his whole life. He has the opportunity to get more, and then he gets it by, we'll find out later, but he tricks the leprechaun. Why wouldn't he wild out with his money? You know, like I was doing. So we did People Under the Stairs a couple weeks ago. One gold coin in 1993, which is when I think this movie came out as well. Around that time, anyway, was worth like in today's dollars, it's like around $800.
Okay.
And
yeah.
He had a shit ton of coins, right? In that whole, like, what do we call it? A basket or pot of gold, right?
Yeah.
So he probably had over $100,000, maybe more.
Well, no, if it's 800, right?
$800
times 100.
Oh, he had 100 coins.
Yeah, he had 100 coins.
Oh, that's right. So that's only what?
That's only $80,000.
$80,000. Okay, that's not.
So it's like if someone gave me $80,000 right now, the last thing in the world I would be doing is buying a fucking ride on a limo. Like, isn't that in and of itself like $1,000? Oh, that's like
no, but then you also got to remember for inflation, it probably was the limousine didn't cost that much, you know.
Well, the guy says in the movie eventually they say how much those coins are worth.
Oh, they do?
They do. Okay. In the movie,
I probably have written down.
Those coins are $500. So okay. It's worth even fucking less.
Well, because you could buy it less because inflation. But okay. All right, it's frivolous. It is. I'll give you that. It's frivolous, but it's not beyond the pale. Like I would think about doing something like that. I got a tattoo right now today, and I'm unemployed.
God damn it, Miguel. So stop, Miguel. You gotta stop with the tattoos.
So what are we doing? So that's what I'm saying. Like
the job stoppers. the job stoppers.
But I'm just saying, I don't think it was a bad idea. Yes, was it? Yeah, I could see it happening.
I'm judging this man.
Yeah,
I'm judging him.
Yeah. So Mr. O'Grady tells her, "Wow, so $80,000 is that what we said? That's yeah."
Yeah, bro. You I don't want to.
We need Mr.
TMI,
O'Grady,
but like, bro. Yeah.
Mr. O'Grady tells her it's just a start, and she should say bye to this dump because tomorrow they're looking at mansions.
Mansions for $80,000. Mansions for $80,000. Okay, back then, not even back then.
So he's delusional, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, he did just find a leprechaun.
Here's the thing: is we're over analyzing this. I think the movie wants you to buy that, like, he actually would be rich.
Yeah.
But it's like, you said it was $500, and that there are 100 of them, bruh.
Carry the one, you know.
Unless I'm off.
So she can't believe what she's hearing and tells him they have no money for this. As she's talking, the chauffeur brings his bags into the house. Mr. O'Grady asks if the funeral parlor delivered the package. She says they have, and she left it out on the front porch. This is a good time to say that they both have Irish accents, which I will not be trying out, although Zach said he might.
Top of the morning to ya, laddie.
There you go. You can email Zach if you have any issues with that.
I'm Irish.
At chappyfiction@gmail.com. She demands that Daniel O'Grady, the old guy's name, tell her what's going on. The chauffeur comes back out, and O'Grady, wobbly from the drink, gives him what appears to be a great tip, and the driver is on his way. So he's just throwing his money out left and right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So O'Grady says what's going on is that they're rich, so he thinks that they're rich as well. Mrs. O'Grady says he was supposed to bury his mother's ashes that had been sent from Ireland, but he instead opens the box that the funeral parlor sent and pulls out an urn. He tells his wife that they're not his mother's ashes and smashes the vase and pulls out a bag of gold coins. He says he found a pot of gold. A wee person, a leprechaun, had caught him and made him show me where his gold is. Ha ha ha. It's the rule, you know. Here's what I want to know. We see how much like of a fierce fighter this leprechaun is throughout the movie.
Yeah.
How did he catch him?
I know. That's the movie I want to see.
You want to see the prequel?
I want to see the prequel. How did this McCready guy or whatever his name is? Yeah. How did he get him? Because that's more epic than what actually happens.
That would probably be a better movie.
Like you'd have to be like a genius to trap this guy.
You know what movie that is? It's that movie I was talking about a couple of weeks ago. Darby.
Oh yeah. That movie's scarier than
What's
this.
What's that movie called? No.
I don't know. And the Little People? Isn't it called The Little People?
Yeah, and The Little People.
That movie fucked my ass up when I was a little kid.
So the movie we're talking about is called Darby O'Gill and the Little People, which is really like I thought I was gonna be pissed for having watched it. It was like this 60s Disney movie.
Oh, my wife wants to make me watch some Disney bullshit.
Just like that.
That's what you sound like.
Have another sip, Zach. And no, but it was actually really, really funny, like you said.
Really terrifying.
Like for a little kid, it would be really terrifying, right? Because at the end, there's some really great scenes of like a carriage of death or death care or something like that.
I'm getting goosebumps.
But in that movie, they show how he caught the leprechaun. So that's probably that's an unofficial sequel, a prequel.
Let's just watch that.
Let's just watch that instead and talk about it. His wife doesn't believe him and calls him a drunken fool. Suddenly, it starts to thunder. Inside, Mrs. O'Grady has made some tea for her drunkard of husband. As she's pouring the hot water into the teapot, she starts to hear her child crying, and she goes to investigate.
No. Incorrect. She starts hearing a child singing. And that's again why I say this is where the comparisons like begin, like right off the bat to Nightmare on Elm Street, because it's like it's
such a weird thing that you've focusing on.
I know, but I
love it. Keep
like,
going.
I enjoyed this movie, and I enjoyed Nightmare on Elm Street, but this movie would not exist without Nightmare on Elm Street, in my opinion, because it's like it's so derivative from it, like including that particular scene where it's like that singing with the jump rope. It's a very, very similar cadence. Mm-hmm. What ends up happening, you probably have it written down, is that
Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Yeah, it's like, but he's doing it in such a voice that's very reminiscent of the little kids jumping rope in that movie, and it being like this creepy moment, and it doesn't even make sense. Really, it doesn't make like what.
It's purely for a creep factor.
Yeah, it's just purely creep factor.
Because here's the thing, and I thought he needed to be let out, but we see later on that he doesn't need to be let out.
Yeah.
In one instance, he does, right, because of the 4th of Clover or whatever. But in other instances, in which he is stuck in some sort of box or whatever, he just gets out.
Yeah.
So there was, maybe the guy did have a 4-leaf clover.
And then his wife like
opened it up. Okay, yeah. That's probably what happened. But anyway, so he's singing "Mary Had a Little Lambs." It's coming from the suitcase. As she gets closer, the music gets louder.
But it's a little girl singing it.
Yes, yeah. She puts her ear to the suitcase. Oh no, it's a boy's voice. It says, "I can't breathe. Please open the suitcase. I'm going to suffocate." Horrified, she opens the latches and steps away. The top of the staircase rises, and we see a set of green eyes in the dark. Then it opens all the way, and the leprechaun from earlier steps out. So, question for you. Was he in that suitcase since Ireland? Did he have to go through airport security, customs, the ride back from the airport?
I guess so, man. I don't know.
Like, how does he go through security and they don't x-ray a fucking skeleton in a...
But he's all magic. Like, he teleports in.
So he doesn't have a skeleton? No, but he didn't go into that suitcase. The guy, put him in there. And trapped him. So
yeah, well, I mean, maybe cryptids don't show up on,
It's like Dracula with the mirror?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Angry, he backs Mrs. O'Grady to the top of the stairs, saying he wants his gold now. She keeps backing up and eventually falls back into the downstairs area, yelling as she goes. She lands at the bottom of the steps and appears dead. The camera pans back up the stairs to the leprechaun who's in the shadows, and he quips, "I smell some tea brewing," which I feel was supposed to be a real zinger, but it didn't land with me.
Again, like, he's a zinger killer.
Yeah, I see.
And to me, again, that is like Freddy.
All right.
He's like a shittier version of Freddy.
Shorter version.
Whoa.
So next we see Mr. O'Grady come out of a room saying he's hidden the gold. We hear off screen the leprechaun as Mrs. O'Grady asking where he hid it. Then the leprechaun steps into frame and he's brought the tea and asks, still in Mrs. O'Grady's voice, whether he's hitting it close to the house. I thought this was pretty funny and kind of creepy and kind of fucked up all at the same time. I don't know, I liked it. O'Grady asks the leprechaun how he found him, and he says that the wheat people have their magical ways, and I'm thinking, no you don't, you just hid in the suitcase. But so maybe we're understanding it incorrectly. Maybe he didn't like kidnap the leprechaun in the suitcase, and it is exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, because he can like open any door. Yeah. Like, his power is like, if there's a cupboard or a door, he can come out of it. That's like a known power that he has throughout this whole movie. Maybe what happened was like he trapped him in Ireland and then took the gold to America, and then someone untrapped him in Ireland
and he was able to... Okay, that probably makes more sense, yeah.
But I don't think any of the writers thought about this.
No.
If I'm being honest.
So O'Grady asks what the leprechaun did with his wife. He says he should have told her to watch her step. That was mean. Also,
not a great punchline. Like,
no,
just give it a little bit more thought, and you'll come up with something better. That's like some placeholder dialogue.
So O'Grady doesn't seem to care about this ominous bit of news because he just runs and grabs his gun. and a 4-leaf clover, it looks like. And when he comes back, the leprechaun is sitting in a chair with his feet up, sipping some of the tea. O'Grady shows the 4-leaf clover to the leprechaun, who reacts to it as if he were a vampire reacting to a crucifix. He yells at O'Grady to put it away, but O'Grady shoots at the leprechaun, who manages to escape and runs away, saying, "Catch me if you can." O'Grady follows him downstairs and sees his dead wife. The leprechaun once again does her voice and says, "I'm okay, I just have a kink in my neck." That was fucked up. O'Grady again shoots at the leprechaun, who runs off into the shadows, saying, "The bullets can't stop him forever. He'll keep coming back." We then see O'Grady pick up the leprechaun's body and puts it in a crate and seals it up with nails. So then,
well,
he did shoot him. He did shoot the leprechaun, and so it diminished his power.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, the leprechaun takes damage, but, like, he is, like, immortal.
Okay. But he just needs to... It's like it.
Yeah. Seems like it.
So he also places the 4-leaf clover on the top and says that will keep him there forever. He then douses the crate in gas and drags his wife's dead body up the stairs. The whole time, the leprechaun is talking shit to him, like, "Don't strain yourself, you're going to die from a heart attack." He then says he traded his soul for the gold. Soon, O'Grady will trade his life. Before O'Grady can throw a match down the stairs to set it on fire, he has a heart attack, kills over and dies. We see the crate, the leprechaun still in it, and then the scene fades to black. So, do you believe in leprechauns?
I mean, yes, I believe there are leprechauns out there, yeah. And if you find their pot of gold, you get to keep it.
So
very similar to this movie. Yeah. I mean, is this movie not based off of real life?
It's your life, right? It's based on your life. So I looked it up.
I hate to tell you this, but I am a leprechaun.
You're poor right now, so you can't be a leprechaun.
Hey,
you're new poor. So a leprechaun is a diminutive supernatural being in Irish folklore, classed by some as a type of solitary fairy. They're usually depicted as little bearded men wearing a coat and hat who partake in mischief. In later times, they've been depicted as shoemakers who have a hidden pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Leprechaun-like creatures rarely appear in Irish mythology and only became prominent in later folklore. So,
honestly, the movie feels pretty accurate to that.
To the later folklore.
Well, to what you just said. Yeah. Not the fairy. Well, actually, he does kind of have, like, fairy-like powers.
Yeah.
Because fairies have, like, a lot of crazy powers. And fairies are, like, kind of super evil. Like, in traditional, like, Irish, they, like, lure people out and get them lost in the forest and kill them.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's some crossover.
Yeah, I don't know. I think so, yeah.
So have you heard of the Crichton Leprechaun?
No.
So you said you do believe in leprechauns. The Crichton Leprechaun, also called the Mobile Leprechaun or the Alabama Leprechaun.
Oh, actually, I have heard of this.
Is a supposed sighting of a leprechaun in a tree in Crichton, a neighborhood
of a leprechaun up
Alabama,
in that tree.
Following a 2006 news report filed at a local NBC affiliate. The video was posted to YouTube on St. Patrick's Day 2006 and became one of the first YouTube viral videos and was referenced in mainstream media.
There was a leprechaun up in that tree, all right? And there was a man that had a summoning leprechaun flute that was passed down to him from his great-great-great-grandfather on his Irish side.
So that's why I believe.
I believe, too. I mean, and there was also a really, like, detailed sketch of what appeared in that tree.
As of 2018, the video has over 28 million views.
You go watch that video instead of watching this fucking movie.
I'm going to post this video in the
show notes.
In the show notes so you can see how fucking amazing this is. It seems like somebody... Even later on, somebody said it was just a little person who lived in the neighborhood, and then people just got like, yeah, man. It's just the power of hysteria, you know.
That was like, you would think that this is not real. Like if you saw it now, you would think it's a Tim and Eric skit. It's not. It's not a skit.
It's 100% legit.
It's not a fucking skit.
Next, we're in the country with a very nice aerial shot. The words 10 years later appears on the screen, and a very on-the-nose song lyric starts up saying, I say I need a 4-leaf clover. That's the beginning lyrics to that song. Did you notice that?
Well, no, I didn't.
It's fucking terrible. Yes.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So here's another question for you. As a kid, did you ever look for 4-leaf clovers? Did you ever find any?
Yes, I did, and they're quite common. They're not uncommon, 4-leaf clovers. So
well, I'm glad you asked. The 4-leaf clover is a rare variation of the common 3-leaf clover. According to traditional sayings, such clovers bring good luck, though it's not clear when or how this idea began. The earliest mention of flower-leafed or purple grass is from 1640. So 4 was spelled Fower back in Old English.
yeah.
And it simply says that it was kept in gardens because it was, quote unquote, good for the purples in children or others. A description from 1869 says that 4-leaf clovers were gathered at nighttime during the full moon by sorcerers. A female sorcerer, a sorceress, right?
There you go.
During the full moon by sorceresses. You say that fucking word.
Sorcery.
By female sorcerers who mixed it with vervain and other ingredients, while young girls in search of a token of perfect happiness made it a quest of the plant by day. So they would go searching for this as a token of like being them believing that they were perfectly happy. And it kind of reminds me of what was that Junji Ito book where there's like a crossroads and people go looking for a girl to tell them it's a man to tell them their
oh, you're talking about the city, the foggy city. They're that one's fucking great. Did you like that one?
Yeah, I like that one.
I love that one.
It just kind of reminded me of that a little bit. The first reference of it being good luck might be from an 11-year-old girl who wrote in an 1877 letter to St. Nicholas magazine, "Did the fairies ever whisper in your ear that a 4-leaf clover brought good luck to the finder?" So there's a long history of 4-leaf clovers being, good luck. But as far as being rare or not, yeah, they're not as rare like you're saying.
Yeah, like
I think like if you do like a 4x4 patch of 4-leaf clovers, you could find one in that.
Yeah,
so.
but they're I mean exactly like they're
rare,
uncommon.
Right.
I would say maybe they're not rare, but they're uncommon.
So we're gonna pause the podcast right now, and then we're gonna go looking out in my patch. We're gonna keep it running. Then we'll see how long it takes.
Yeah.
So we then see a shot from the air of a red convertible Jeep driving through some hills. We hear a woman say that she's still depressed and she's in the country with her hick father for the whole summer. And it's not New Mexico, it's North Dakota, she says. It doesn't matter, it's not LA. And I'm thinking, this is a brat. She's a brat. So they pull up to the O'Grady house and park in front. We see our girl, Jenny from the block, pre-Friends, Jennifer Aniston. Pre-nose job, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I looked it up, and they say that she did have a nose job, but it was to correct a deviated septum she had. But they said it was like in 2006 or something like that. So they grab some groceries from the back of the car and head inside. Jennifer's giving the house like this stank face, like she doesn't want to be there. She says, "You must be joking. This is our poor neighbor's house, right?" She has on this short blue polka dot dress, and I'd venture to say like a kitten heel. She complains of no swimming pools, no cable, no shopping malls, which is fair.
Okay,
because as a teenager, I'm not sure what I would have done without cable or TV or shopping malls.
In her defense, yeah, she's right. That would fucking suck if I was thinking that time, like in that time period, what is she supposed to do?
Yeah,
like she goes out there and she's just living with her dad. Well, I hope she has some fucking books because there's nothing out there, you know.
Yeah, well, like I used to play outdoors as kids, like we would play baseball, football, Make up fucking
you were
games.
when you were how old?
Also,
she's probably like
right.
19 or 18 in this.
Yeah.
So
also, it was with other people. She doesn't have any other friends. She's by herself right there.
Yeah. So it's like, well, it kind of reminded me of the Elementals, where this girl like moves, and it's like, what are you supposed to do if you're like separated from people and there's no internet? It just seems like a very boring existence back then.
Yeah.
You know.
Next, we see a shot of the four-leaf clover still on top of the crate downstairs in the basement. It's covered with spider webs, and there's an actual tarantula crawling on it. They head downstairs, and the dad is showing his daughter around, saying he knows that it's dusty, but she just has to clean it up and paint it, and it could look great. Jenny, we don't know her name yet. We don't know the character's name yet. Continues to complain. She offers to get a hotel somewhere in town, and he can come visit her once a week. Dad says, okay, Tori, money isn't all you need. And Tori sees the tarantula and runs out of the basement, saying she's making a reservation at a hotel. Outside, she's struggling to get cell service and bumps into his hunky farmhand and knocks over his paint thinner. She offers him $20, and she says, wait, you knocked over my paint thinner and then offer me $20? Confused, Tori then offers him another $20 and asks if that covers it. The hunk says no, maybe if you apologize. Tori looks genuinely confused and stuffs the cash into the man's hands and says she has to go. She's in a hurry and she needs to get away from this spider-infested house. I thought that was pretty funny because she just doesn't understand how much is much. It's $40 for some paint thinner.
It was very confusing to me because it's like, is this girl like rich because she has a cell phone?
In 1993.
Yeah.
It's a brick, yeah.
I mean, we didn't get cell phones till mid-2000s. And those are fucking expensive. So...
I had a cell phone in 99, but go on.
Oh, I mean, you are also a fucking 50-year-old man.
God damn.
You're also the same age as Jennifer Aniston.
Nice.
No, okay,
and I look just as good.
So, you do. So, I was a little confused by her... Like, it didn't seem like money was tight. But then why the fuck are they out there? Like, that was confusing to me a little bit.
It's an obvious, like, divorce situation where she's living with her mom, and now maybe she got into some trouble, or the mom and the dad came to an agreement where he wants to spend more time with his daughter, so she's going to be staying out there for the summer.
Maybe that got cut. That explains it. And then, so that's why she has all this money, and he's like...
And he has nothing.
He has yeah.
Like, maybe she came for money, and then when they divorced, she kept her money, he still had nothing, you know?
So, real quick, with the paint guy, he's also a hunk. This dude is fucking, like, got beautiful hair, beautiful locks, is jacked as fuck. And then, here's what's confusing. What color are they painting this house? They're painting it like baby blue and fucking bright blood red.
Yeah.
It's the ugliest paint color. Like, the paint scheme makes no sense.
I did note that. I'm like, I'm sure it's somewhere in my notes here, but yeah, it had no sense whatsoever. the paint and the paint job for this house was an afterthought completely.
They were like, how do we get this hunk of a guy...
And the city girl.
Also... His brothers, his co-workers, where one is a person who has some kind of learning disability or something, and then the other one is just a brat kid. And it's like,
Whoa, he's not a brat.
He is a brat. He's a dipshit.
He's Alex, right? Alex is cool.
Dude, Alex is like...
From what I remember. Let's continue.
All right.
Let's keep... Okay, so... the hunk laughs at this, and Tori asks, what's so fun? He says he finds it amusing that girls are afraid of spiders.
That completely non sequitur. He finds it amusing that they're afraid of spiders, but not that she just gave him $40 fucking for paint?
Everybody's afraid of spiders, okay? I'm afraid of spiders. Like, let's calm down. Tori said, whoa, did I misplace my 1950s calendar? Listen, bud, this is the 1990s. Women are treated as equals. The hunk scoffs and says his name isn't Bud, it's Nathan. Secondly, he doesn't know a lot of dudes scared of houses. Tori says she isn't either, to which Nathan scoffs. So Dad walks out with her suitcase and says he's not going to fight her anymore. He'll take her back. Tori, looking at Nathan nervously, says, "What are you talking about? You think I'm afraid of some dust and bugs? Put the bugs back." So I thought that was pretty funny, like that they're already like building. They have like a rapport.
They had a rapport, but it just seemed like so sudden because she was so adamant. Like, her character is like, I guess, like a crazy teenage girl is what the writers were thinking, because they're like, she is adamant, I'm going, I'm leaving, and then as soon as this guy is like, what are you, afraid of a little dust? She's like, I'm not afraid of shit! I'm not afraid of shit! I'll stay here for 10 years! I don't know, like, it's just so odd.
You know, the writer and the director are the same person, so.
Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense now.
I kind of like some of the directing choices. He does a lot of, like, tilting the camera in interesting ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some good stuff here. Next, are you eating the shit while we're talking?
Dude, I don't have it.
Yes, you can. Yeah. Take a break. Have like 5 more, and then give me the bag.
Okay.
Fucking.
Oh, he's taking
monster.
the food away from me.
Next, we see a man in painter's overalls and a very colorful shirt, talking to a little kid in the bed of a pickup truck, describing to him a close encounter of the third kind he had. The kid's not paying attention to him and even hits him with his chewing gum with a slingshot.
Oh, but he's a real cool kid, huh?
All right. He admonished Ozzy for telling stories. Ozzy tells Alex that it really happened. The dad walks up to them and introduces himself as JD and says he just met Alex's brother Nathan. JD offers to help them out, but Alex, a 10-year-old at most, says their insurance provider prohibits anyone but themselves from handling the equipment. I kind of like this bit here. I think they're going for like a Boo Radley thing with Ozzy. And apparently they're doing work for hire around the farm for him. Later, Tori carefully brings down a tray with some drinks down to the basement for Nathan and accidentally drops the tray and drinks on top of the crate, which wakes up the leprechaun. Which I've already forgotten that we were here about the leprechaun. I really just wanted this to be a rom-com with Jennifer Aniston
and Ozzy.
Nathan. And Ozzy. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Nathan says not to worry about damaging what was in the crate. The O'Grady's collected a lot of junk. You know, Dan O'Grady, like from earlier, like they're really trying to hit the point home here, you know. So Nathan suggests they open the crate and dares Tori to do it. Before they can start, they hear a yell from outside and run to investigate it. They get outside and see Ozzy covered in blue paint, yelling at Alex for not holding the ladder steady. Tori and Nathan laugh at Ozzy along with Alex. We finally see Tori's outfit in its full glory. I've never seen like mom jean shorts with patches sewn on the front and the back. It's like pure 90s and I love it. Tori points the way to the bathroom for Ozzy to clean up. I feel like they're being mean to Ozzy, or I don't know, like Ozzy is being set up as to be laughed at.
Yeah,
and
he's
this is problematic.
He is like, they're treating him as a buffoon, basically. Like, he's like, one, he is clearly developmentally disabled. Like, they make that clear in the narrative later. They talk about it, about specifically his brain, and then, but it's totally like, he's like Lou Costello, right? He's like the butt of the joke, where it's like, now you can't really do that. Now it's like, you can have someone who's the buffoon, but they shouldn't be the buffoon if they're like disabled.
It would be like the movie you saw recently, Big Trouble in Little China. Jack Burton.
Yeah.
He's set up as the buffoon, but he's actually like, he pictures himself as the hero, and he's like the strapping dude who's
he's technically able-bodied, but he is a buffoon. Yeah. You know, he's to be laughed at. So
it's like punching up versus punching down.
Yeah, exactly.
In that case, they're punching up. In this case, they're punching down, and it doesn't feel right. Even though he's part of the family, even later on, like Alex is very mean to him and says, "Oh yeah."
That's what I'm saying. Alex is a piece of shit.
Oh, fuck,
That's what I was saying.
Okay,
He's a piece of shit.
Like what Alex wants the money for?
Yeah.
To get the surgery for. I mean, that's we'll get to that. But yeah, he is a piece of shit. Back downstairs, we see in the crate that the leprechaun is fully awake and listening to what's happening. After Ozzy has cleaned off most of the paint, he's walking back outside, but he hears a child again singing that "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star" and follows the voice. He calls out for it as he's going down the stairs. The child's voice says, "Please let me out. Why won't you let me out of this crate?" As Ozzy goes to investigate, he knocks the 4-leaf clover off the top of the crate. He puts his ear to the crate, and suddenly a hand breaks through the crate and the leprechaun breaks out. He says, "I'm back," as he puts his top hat back on, blowing the dust and cobwebs off of it. I like that part where he busted through the crate. I thought that was kind of cool. There are some cool, like, obviously not scary things, but kind of cool things in the movie.
Yeah, this isn't a suspenseful movie.
No.
It does have more of that whimsical vibe to it. It's like a whimsical kid movie mixed with a. It has Goosebumps vibes, if I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, from what I do remember, it does get a little bit gore. Does it get gory? Like, are there some scenes that are gory?
I mean, honestly, I'm not even sure if this is not PG-13, because I don't think I would have a problem showing this to anyone that's younger than. There is a little bit of gore. There's a little bit of blood.
Rated R.
Wow. I mean, he does say, "Fuck you, Lucky Charms."
That's probably what it is. Yeah. So we get a close-up of the leprechaun's face, which looks great. I think the makeup that they did and all that was kind of stellar. I like how it looked. He asks for a light for his pipe, then grabs a cricket off of his arm and eats it. He says he's starved. He hasn't eaten in 10 years. Ozzy asks, "What are you?" And the leprechaun says, "What do I look like, me lad?" I did it, and I apologize.
That's good.
"What do I look like, me lad? See the hat, the buckle on me shoes? Why, I'm a leprechaun." He asks Ozzy if he's seen his gold. Actually, he says crock of gold. So, like, crock of shit? So, like, crock equals a container?
Yeah.
It's a unit of measurement? I
guess so.
All right. He says he better tell him where the gold is, otherwise he'll bite his ear off and turn it into a shoe, since he's a shoemaker by trade. Now, this is something that actually happens.
The deep lore. The deep lore.
But it actually happens later on. So we're going to remember this. So Ozzy makes a run for it, but the leprechaun uses his magic to shut the door, but Ozzy is able to open it. The leprechaun says he only got away because he's too weak and he needs his gold. So if he was at full power, he would have been able to lock the door, or maybe
I know it's such a stupid line. Like,
maybe he would have been able to freeze Ozzy. And,
yeah,
you know, like that's what I'm saying. What's the limit here? You know,
magic. Yeah. There is no limit.
It's like the ending of a Stephen King novel or something.
It's Aliens, Shrug. Yeah.
Back outside, Ozzy yells, "There's a leprechaun in the basement." And of course, no one believes him. Nathan agrees to check it out, and they all go with. Ozzy describes the leprechaun to them, including the teeth, which were all sharp and rotten, which I forgot to mention. But yeah, we do see his teeth, and they look great as well. They hear a noise and go to investigate. Ozzy reminds me of Andy Richter a bit. Do you know what Andy Richter is? Conan O'Brien's.
Yeah, yes, he does.
Yeah.
He kind of, he looks like him.
Yeah. They find a rat and say that was the leprechaun. But of course, Ozzy's like, no, that wasn't the case. But they all go back outside. As they do, the worst looking CGI rainbow I've ever seen appears. And this is like 1993 CGI. And it's so, like, you can't even get a rainbow right.
Yeah.
I mean, Jurassic Park had already come out. Guys, what are we doing here?
I mean, I don't think they were trying. Like, it's such a... Who cares? They could have just... What they should have just done is have the characters look up and say, "Oh, there's a rainbow," and you just don't show it.
Yeah, and then you can have, like, lights reflecting on their skin that makes it look like a rainbow.
Yeah.
That would have been cooler.
And then they could say, "Why is there a rainbow? It didn't rain." Why
do rainbows only appear when it rains? Is that the only time they appear?
Miguel.
Only time?
Miguel.
Oh my fucking God.
You're going to have to delete this. Oh my God, Miguel. Delete
Double
this.
rainbow only happens when it rains?
What do you think fucking makes a rainbow?
Rainbows can appear at any time there are water droplets in the air.
Oh, what the fuck are water droplets?
It could be humid outside.
Oh my God.
Wow. You're a fucking asshole. Wait, hold on. Here's a question here on Google.
Oh, on Google.
A rainbow requires water droplets to be floating in the air. That's why they see them right after it rains. Cutting this right now.
You're cutting the best part.
But here's the thing.
Character growth. You're learning.
Here's the thing. Like, first of all, here's the thing, Zach. Shut up. You know. All right. You got me. I feel like I've been dry when I've seen the rainbows.
You get my stomach. You're fucking killing me.
Fine. Fucking fine. It sucks.
You better not cut that.
Alright. Ozzy says they need to go see what's at the end of the rainbow, and Alex follows him begrudgingly. Nathan and Tori stay behind. Are you fucking texting the chat right now, Zach?
They're called rainbows. The rain's in the title.
Fuck.
I'll stop. Oh my God. My stomach.
Wait. One more thing.
He's Googling, has there ever been a rainbow without rain before? Even one time.
Okay. In my defense, Spanish was my first language.
Okay, alright.
Okay.
Arcoiris.
That's how you say that's how you say rainbow in Spanish.
Arcoiris.
Arco iris. Nothing about rain.
Arc colors?
Yeah, nothing about rain.
Alright, well.
Are you being racist against me right now? No. Yes, I made it about race. Woo. I had my dumb moment. All right. Ozzy says they need to go see what's at the end of the rainbow, and Alex follows him begrudgingly. Put the goddamn phone down. Can I finish?
You're good. No, you can. I'll allow it.
Nathan and Tori stay behind to paint and make with the romance. Ozzy and Alex follow the rainbow to an old pickup truck, and they find a gold coin. They then find the bag full of gold. In order to see if the gold was real, Ozzy attempts to bite the coin, but ends up swallowing it instead. And I wonder if this is going to come back or not. Also, this relationship between Nathan and Tori, this feels a lot like, remember in the previous, in the zombie episode, that thing that they did in 70s and 80s movies where like two characters meet and instantly fall in love.
Yeah.
And now it's like they've been together for years and shit. Like they give up each other's lives and shit.
Yeah.
It feels like the start of it, but I don't think that happens to the extent in this one.
No, I like, it was...
It's believable.
Kind of believable. Like, because she doesn't seem like she's falling for him. Like, particularly. Like, it seemed like more of like like she was pissed about being confronted by him, and less like she's like, oh, he's such a hunk. That guy just happened to be a hunk.
That's true. Okay. Alex says not to tell anyone about the gold. He's gonna take just one and get it checked out in town. In the meantime, he's gonna hide the gold by the old well. Alex asks if Ozzy knows what this means now that they're rich, and Ozzy says he can buy more comics.
That's me!
You even posted that on your Instagram, right?
Yeah, that was my energy.
But Alex says, no, we can finally get you an operation to make you smart. And I said, fucking yikes, dude. Problematic as fuck here. Like, I know it's coming from a child, but it's kind of fucked. I feel bad for Ozzy.
I don't know if they do address that later. They actually do address that his exact line, so
yeah.
It makes it less problematic because the movie is aware of it.
And Ozzy says he is smart, but Alex wants to make him real smart so people will stop making fun of him behind his back. And Ozzy looks devastated to hear this news. He's like, people making fun of me behind my back? Like, Alex is not doing the right thing here. He's being
but Alex is cool.
He's a dick, I admit. He's a dick, and rainbows appear in the rain. That's what we've learned from this episode here. Back at the house, discount Kevin Bacon is teaching Tori how to paint.
He looks like if Kevin Bacon ate Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. He looked like if Kevin Bacon sniffed paint. That's who this person is. So, and this is why I said, what are these primary kindergarten colors that they're painting with? Red and blue.
They're like making it look like a toy house.
Yeah. So Tori goes to the truck to get a new can of paint, and we pan down to see the leprechaun is under the truck stroking her legs. For some reason, she believes this to be Nathan, but when she turns around and sees Nathan by the house, she screams, and the leprechaun scratches her badly on her leg. She falls down, and Nathan and JD come to check on her. She says she thought it was Nathan rubbing her leg. He says, "And you let me?" And she says, "That's not the point." But her dad looks at Nathan for a quick second, which I thought it was pretty funny.
And she's like, "I know what it's like when a guy's caressing my leg." And her dad's like, "You do?"
You do?
What?
In a hurt puppy dog way, too. It's awesome. They then hear a cat and think that's what scratched her. The cat is stuck in a tree, in a tree trunk, so JD puts his hand in to take it out. And I'm thinking, what are you crazy? Well, you have a cat, so you trust cats. I fucking do not trust cats. I'm like, fuck cats. I don't trust them.
Here's the thing, like, you don't put your hand in the knot of a tree. And that's what this guy did. It was the father puts his hand in the knot of a tree. Mm. And I would never do that. Is this some country
Texas knowledge that you're about to drop on us?
I mean, that's where snakes live. Like, in the darkness. Like, don't put your hand in a hole. It's going to get fucking bit. And that happens. It's a cool part. It's a cool scene. Mm-hmm. And then you will not see the father for the rest of this movie. Because he gets bit, and they're like, let's take his ass to the hospital. Yeah. And the blood looks pretty cool.
Yeah, but it was the leprechaun the whole time.
Yeah, leprechaun bites his ass. So they jump in the car,
and the car says 3 guys that paint, and that's the name of their building, or that's the name of their company. They take JD to the emergency room, not before Alex fixes the car and makes it go. So again, that's going to come back later. Then the leprechaun runs in the barn and comes out riding a tricycle and follows him to town, which I love this part. They pull up to the ER. Nathan tells Alex and Ozzy to get something to eat while they're waiting. They instead go to the local collectible shop, like every small town has, to get the coin appraised. At the shop, the owner says he's never seen anything like it. Strange symbols and markings that he's never seen. He says if it is solid gold, it could be $500, like you were saying. Oh, but if it's historical, it could be priceless.
Ah, priceless. That's where we
fucked up. Okay.
All
so
right.
It's not in just the gold. It's not in
it's
the raw
collectibles.
Yeah.
It's like what's paper. Paper is nothing, but if it's got $1 on it.
So the owner wants to keep it to research it overnight, which they let him do. They leave to the restaurant, and he pulls out a huge old book with pictures of coins. While researching, he hears the bike bell going off. He starts opening his safe, but the tricycle is pushed into him, and he doesn't see who did it. He goes back to his safe and opens it up, and the leprechaun jumps out. So again, he could just go anywhere.
If there's a door, boom.
So that's my question. So again, is he able to just appear in places? Did he know the code and then open it up again? It's just the magic. What are his leprechaun powers? So he's not powerful enough to lock the door, but he's powerful enough. Why did he need the tricycle?
Look, Miguel. He's got door powers. Opening them, closing them, not locking them.
But this guy needed to put in his combination to open the lock.
Maybe he was close to the one piece of gold, so he became more powerful.
Okay.
And so he could unlock or appear in locked objects.
It's all in the writing. We just have to see it there.
You just have to see it.
So the leprechaun says he wants his gold coin, then bites the owner and takes it from him. He says, now we're going to play. Do you want to play with me? There's a little bit of Chucky in that, too.
Yeah.
He then grabs a pogo stick and proceeds. Do you want to say what happens here?
I mean, he pogos his ass to death. He says something about pogoing on his lung. And then just pogos him to death. But it's not an interesting death, really.
But the owner makes no attempt to, I don't know, like, get up, move to the side. He makes no attempt to do anything. But the bloody effects kind of look cool here. I like the practical effect. The death itself, not that interesting, but the effects look cool. And I'm saying, why is he mad at this guy? He didn't steal the gold. He just possessed it. And the leprechaun knows that. So he's just a murderous asshole.
because he kills people who don't have the gold. So he doesn't care.
So
the wife didn't have gold. He killed her. He didn't care.
That's true. Well, he didn't know she didn't have it. He was asking her. Right? He didn't know she didn't have it, but he knew that this guy didn't have it.
Well, we're going to get to a part where there's a dude who has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
He just doesn't like cops. That's it.
A-cab all day, every day.
A-cab leprechaun. That's me.
We're going to write that.
Oh.
Then he shines the guy's shoes. He then upgrades to a truck from the tricycle. At the diner, Nathan and Tori say they're worried about Alex and Ozzy. And this is my question. Why is she worried about Alex and Ozzy? She's known them for 2 or 3 hours. This is the thing that I was like saying, like, why does she care? Like, they're still strangers. She doesn't even know their last name probably at this point.
Yeah.
You know? It's just a little bit of the characters, like...
They bonded real quick.
Really quickly, yeah. Over nothing. They have nothing to bond over yet.
Yeah. Well... They
should be a bond afterwards or during while they're fighting this. So Nathan says, they're just kids, probably stuffed off to buy a comic. And I'm thinking, dude, Ozzy's not a kid. I'm not sure if it's cute or what's happening here, but it feels weird. They're treating him as a child, but he's not. He's like my age. It's like a 40-year-old man, or you know.
I mean, I understand like how someone would do that and like their mentality, because like I've seen people do that with people that are older that are developmentally disabled, and they're treated like kids a lot of times. So, I mean, I guess I get it, like why they're not okaying it, but I see why it was written like that. Because you wouldn't say like, oh, he's gonna go do like,
so grab the beard.
Yeah, when it's like, if you know, so. Okay.
So Tori can't believe on her first day her father's in the hospital, and Nathan says, at least the worst is over. Next, we see the leprechaun driving very fast down the highway in his toy car. And I'm thinking, how fast can this motherfucker go? Is it enchanted? Is that
he
also...
enchants it.
Okay, cool.
He's got door powers, and he's got vehicle powers.
Awesome. As he rounds a corner, he comes across a cop eating a donut who promptly pulls him over. The cop approaches the car, quote unquote, and says, aren't we a bit young to be out this late? The leprechaun says, no, I'm 600 years old. The officer then makes the mistake of making fun of a leprechaun, so he gets his face clawed. Back at the diner, Tori is complaining of the quality of food and drink offered. So it's kind of like a roller coaster of like liking and not liking this character, for me.
Well, she also is like, I'm a vegetarian. Do you know where this food comes from? Do you know what beef is? It comes from a cow. And he's like, yeah, I know what fucking beef is. Like, obviously it comes from a cow.
Like, I'm probably a farmer's son or something. Back to the cop. He's being chased by the leprechaun, but we see a cool shot similar to the demon cam from Evil Dead. The cop is all bloody as he runs away. Then the leprechaun comes out of nowhere running after him. The leprechaun says, so you want to play hide and seek, huh? The cop runs and comes across the top hat. He picks it up, and then there's a leprechaun appearing all over the place, playing with him. The cop throws his baton at some random direction, tricking the leprechaun into thinking he went that way. Exhausted, he sits down, thinking he got away, but he doesn't know he's not the final girl in our picture. Suddenly, the leprechaun drops down onto his neck and snaps it, then starts playing with it between his legs, saying, "Now that was fun."
So this scene went on forever.
Yeah, just like me reading it went on forever.
The scene is like that. You read for like 5 minutes, which was way too long. The scene is like 10 minutes long, and you know that this dude is a goner. Like at the moment he pulls him over, and it does that cartoon stuff where it's like he pops out from behind one tree, and then he looks around, he's out behind another tree, and it's like, all right, come on, let's speed this up.
This is like the director trying to show us that he knows how to do trick shots.
Yeah.
And it's like, we did this when we were 12 years old, like with the camcorder that we had, you know.
It's not interesting.
So back at the diner, Nathan says Tori is looking thin and should eat some food. Canceled? He's an asshole? You might as well just tell her, like, to smile or something.
I mean, he's not looking thin, though. Am I right, fellas?
He's beefy.
And ladies?
He's girthy. This is when Tori says she is a vegetarian and doesn't kill things. Nathan, being the self-righteous prick he is, grabs her leather sneakers and says, "Oh, really? How about this dead cow you're walking on?" And Tori has had enough of his bullshit. And then Ozzy and Alex finally show up at the diner. Back at the house, the leprechaun has snuck in and is ransacking it looking for his gold. He comes across a box of Lucky Charms with the leprechaun on it and laughs and tastes it and promptly spills it out. So in this scene, when he's eating the Lucky Charms, General Mills gave them permission to use the name, but they were so upset when they saw the finished film that they revoked their permission. The filmmakers had to reshoot the scene, replacing the brand name with an obvious spoof. Then they also changed the kid's line at the end of the film to say, "Your luck just ran out." That's what he was supposed to say to "Fuck you, Lucky Charms."
Ah.
So that's why he said it.
Nice. Nice little dig.
So he comes across a mirror like he's never seen one before, and it scares him before he checks himself out. And I was thinking, he's like 600 years old. He's never seen a fucking mirror before. Like, inconsistencies like that is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
You know. He looks through old boots as well, but then decides to give them a nice shine, even cleaning Tori's heels. I think this is funny, and there's a scene later on where they use this.
Yeah.
And I kind of like it because it's already ridiculous. It's a leprechaun fucking movie. Your killer is 3.5 feet tall.
Yeah.
So I like that they kind of leaned into it sometimes. Nathan is convinced it was a bear, but a bear wouldn't shine and repair shoes. Also, are they all staying there at night or something?
Oh yeah, like
that's what I'm saying. Like
that. Okay, that part in the movie was so weird. Like it wasn't explained. They're like, yeah, let's get ready for staying the night here, and it's just like everyone. And it's like, wait, what? Y'all go home.
Yeah, she could have said something like, "Are you guys staying here?" And they could have been like, "Yeah, your dad. The price we gave him was with room and board or something." But they don't address it.
Yeah,
it's like
it was a little jarring.
Yeah,
but like, and it could have just been like 2 more seconds to explain it. Just be like, or she could have been like, "Can you guys stay here because
she's scared or something?
She's out in the middle of fucking nowhere,
and her dad's at the hospital."
Yeah.
But they don't explain it. It just felt really weird. Tori is the only smart one and decides to leave. But it's too dark on her own.
And then she just turns back around. It's like, it's too dark.
So she comes back. So they decide to clean up the place. But I like it that they at least tried. Right? Because if she didn't try, we'd be like, she's so fucking dumb. But it was the minimum effort that she put into it. You know?
I'm gone.
Yeah.
Oh, hi guys. Sorry. It's dark.
Later, they hear the tricycle bell and go to investigate it. But it turns out to be Ozzy. Ozzy asks Alex if a leprechaun can be killed. Alex says yes with the .357 Magnum to the critter's head. Again, they hear the bell and yell at Ozzy for doing it again, but they all see the bell is on a table, so it couldn't be Ozzy. They go look in the kitchen, But I thought that the bell was on the tricycle back at the collectible shop. So he's just making the noise in his mouth of a bell.
Oh yeah,
Magic.
that's another ability that he has is he can mimic sounds and voices.
Anything. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This is like how Superman is too overpowered.
Yeah, Superman can make little tiny Supermans and project them from his hand. That's a power that he has.
Well, in the 50s or 60s or something. Right?
Just like weird powers.
That
like
got retconned.
Whoa, okay.
Nathan goes out to investigate the noise by himself. Nathan then falls over a can and trips right into a bear trap around his shins. I'm thinking fucking ouch. Like just seeing that. See that's gory. Like that you wouldn't show that in a kid's movie. Although they don't see the blood or
it's not the concept is worse than, you know, what you see on film.
Yeah.
Which is not that bad. I mean he literally walks it off later in the movie.
So he does walk it off. The leprechaun runs out and he rhymes, "I caught you in a bear trap, that'll make you shut your trap. I got you in a bear trap, you look like a stupid sap." I mean, he's spitting bars. Like, can you imagine being on the floor, you got a fucking bear trap, and some little dude just comes out spitting bars at you?
I mean, I'm not sure if those are bars. They don't even rhyme. He rhymes trap with trap, so he says the same word twice.
He's like Eminem.
And then says sap.
That's Eminem's rhyme style right there.
Bro.
Yeah.
Are we going to get into it?
Spaghetti.
Mom, spaghetti.
Uh-huh. All right. But he looks pretty scary here. The leprechaun does. He attempts...
Oh, he fucking bites his ass. That part is, like, crazy. That's cool. Like, he just starts biting the guy that's trapped in the bear trap. Yeah. That's hilarious.
Everyone runs outside after he attempts to bite the trap off. Everyone runs outside to check on Nathan, and the leprechaun gives zero fucks and charges ahead and bites and he bites Nathan in the leg. Tori tells Ozzy to go call the cops, while Alex beats the leprechaun with a rock to get him off of Nathan. I kind of love this part. Like, fuck the hiding and sneaking around. He's just going off. He's just going for it, you know? They all start beating him with sticks and flashlights.
That's the part that I like because it's so ridiculous. Like, you see these normal height people all just beating the shit out of this leprechaun. And it's kind of like comedic. Yeah. Like it's just it's kind of weird, surreal. Like, how did this get made? Like, what? This is so weird. This is so odd.
It's kind of, spoiler alert here. It's kind of like the ending of Halloween Kills. Oh, you haven't seen it.
Oh, except
you don't know. Okay.
It's probably you
shut your mouth. If you want to stay in this house, you shut your mouth right now.
Oh no,
we're not talking about it. We then see Ozzy calling the cops, saying the attack is on. The leprechauns are here. Send help.
Send the military. Send the Navy.
The dispatch says sure. Then when he hangs up, we see him tell the sheriff that Ozzy called again. This time it was leprechauns. Last week it was either UFOs or Bigfoot. Alex gets the shotgun and gives it to Nathan, who promptly shoots the leprechaun. Tori frees Nathan from the trap, and Nathan uses all his shells, shooting into the bushes, not even knowing if he was there or not.
Also, he's got a pump action shotgun, which is a very clearly you have 3 shots, and they just shoot that gun like without any. I mean, they just keep shooting it. Like, yeah. It's like having like a revolver, and you see someone shoot a revolver without reloading like 10 or 15 times. That's the equivalent of this movie.
He's got like a banana clip for the.
Yeah, he's a banana clip for a pump shotgun.
They get Nathan back into the house and notice the phone line is dead. So the leprechaun understands phone technology, but not mirrors?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, maybe mirrors stump him. Maybe that's another weakness, like the shoes.
It's like kryptonite. Mirrors are his kryptonite.
Mirrors and shoes.
Yeah. They say after patching up Nathan, they'll take him back out to the pickup and the emergency room, but Alex is scared that thing is still out there. Nathan goes full Dr. Loomis and says, "I shot him 6 times!" So he can't believe that it's still alive. They help Nathan out of the truck. It doesn't start again, and they ask Alex to fix the distributor cap again. He's so quirky. He's a little kid who knows how to fix cars. Fuck you. I don't know how to fix cars. I gotta feel bad now because this.
What is a distributor cap?
Yeah. So he goes out cautiously and lifts the hood to find the leprechaun there, munching on the wires.
Doors. You open a door, the leprechaun can be there.
Right. So he magicked himself under the hood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Under the opening door.
Yeah.
Any door that is about to be opened, he can be inside. Period.
Okay. Alex screams and runs back into the truck. The leprechaun tries to get into the truck, breaking the window and biting Ozzy in the ear, which he said earlier he threatened to bite him in the ear and turn it into a boot, I think.
Yeah.
So Tori uses a cigarette lighter. Wait, so first of all, why is he trying to break into the car? Why can't he magic himself into the car? There's doors.
They're locked.
Fuck. That's a very limiting power. Most doors are locked.
He's like a vampire, but he doesn't have to be invited in. If there is a door, as long as it's not locked, he has domain over it.
It's a very limited power.
It's a cool power.
His power has like a phone tree. Like
yeah.
If this, then that. If so, then this. It's like programming.
It's like when you level up your character incorrectly in an RPG game. You have the skill tree, and he went a really weird way with this skill tree.
So Tori uses a cigarette lighter to burn the leprechaun's nose, which works in getting him to run off into the barn. They think they're safe for a bit, but they're wrong. They hear a loud engine coming from the barn, and then we see a small car break through the barn doors.
Again, he has dominion over vehicles.
So the leprechaun has retrofitted the car with a pitchfork and rams the tiny car into the side of the truck, which somehow flips it over.
He has dominion over little tiny vehicles. And you didn't mention how tiny this little vehicle is. It's like smaller than a go-kart, right?
Uh-huh.
And it hits a normal-sized vehicle, and it sends the vehicle flying, like rolling over. I thought that was hilarious. Like,
that was ridiculous.
Whenever he's in a vehicle, it's hilarious. I feel it's weird because it's like, here's a little person and they're driving in a little tiny vehicle, and I felt like there's almost something fetishistic about this, the way it's being directed. Like, little tiny vehicle, little tiny person in it. Isn't that funny?
But to be fair, would a little person be driving a big car? That'd be even funnier. Is that problematic?
I don't know. I think that's normal. A small person.
That's true, right? Because there's not like small versions of cars.
I know. That's why it seems so fetishistic. Because it's like, no, a little person would just drive a normal-sized vehicle. And they're just like, oh, well, we'll get Warwick Davis and we'll give him a bunch of small things to do and it'll be funny. And it's like, well, it is really funny when that car hits the big car and it sends it flying because it, like, the physics make no sense.
Although, is it a little... This isn't a little person, it's a leprechaun, and all leprechauns are this size. It's not like there's taller leprechauns and little person leprechauns. All leprechauns are this size. He's not a human little person, he's a leprechaun. In sense of the character.
Yeah.
In real life, like thinking about what Warwick Davis had to go through...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, oh, well, we'll get you a bunch of tiny things for you to do bits on.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool.
So after flipping the truck over, the leprechaun opens the door, but the friends have disappeared. They run back to the house with the leprechaun in hot pursuit. Alex slams the door on the leprechaun's hand and it gets cut off. The newly dismembered hand then crawls up and opens the door for the leprechaun, who grabs it and slinks away. So you're right, he can't fuck with doors that are locked because he had his hand, his dismembered hand, unlock the door.
Yeah. In a bad scene,
we kind of stumbled into this.
Did they think this hard? Though that scene is kind of poorly done, but the concept is cool. Like, and then he just attaches it back on his arm.
Like Terminator. Or,
yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Terminator T2.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Upstairs, Tori decides to use her portable. Stop saying she keeps calling her cell phone a portable, and I'm like, stop trying to make it a thing. And obviously, it didn't catch on. She's gonna try to place a call, which she's finally able to, and she calls the police, telling them that they need help. The phone dies just after this. As somebody whose phone is always dying on them when they need it, I completely understand this. I don't charge my phone. I'm very dumb like that.
I have a question.
Honest. I'm at 27% right now.
Honest question.
Yeah.
Back then, what the fuck was that cell phone running off of? Double A's? or did it have some kind of lithium battery?
It was lithium.
You think so?
No cell phone has ever run off of double A's.
Really? Miguel, am I about to learn you a third? Against strike 3?
What was the first thing? Rainbows. That's it. That's all you got.
There was something else.
Yeah. Okay.
There was something else, I swear to God.
You put your goddamn phone away. We see the sheriff calling his deputy to get out to the O'Grady farm, and we hear him responding. But then we see that the leprechaun is back to his dirty tricks. He's killed the deputy and is imitating him. The voice. Timeline doesn't he can make do sense.
It doesn't. Well, he teleports.
Yeah, exactly. Because he was just there. It's kind of like Michael Myers. Like in part 1, like when did he have time to break into the hardware store? But he was also at the
there are two school. Killers. There were 2 shooters.
Yeah, he was Scream before it was Scream. That's all I'm saying. So back at the O'Grady farm, Tori is bandaging up Ozzy's ear, and he quips, "I bet the leprechaun made a boot out of it." So Tori plays nurse to Nathan as well. She also refuses to believe that the thing attacking was a leprechaun. Ozzy asks, "Then what about the gold we found?" Alex first looks at him frustrated, then admits to finding the gold and wanting to use the money to fix Ozzy's brain. He says, this is what you were talking about earlier, he says he knows that they can't fix Ozzy's brain, but Ozzy doesn't know that.
That makes it worse.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, bro, just play into you thought you could fix his brain instead of, yeah, now I was just fucking with him. I wanted the money.
What's the plan there? Are you going to fake some sort of surgery and have him wake up and be like, your brain's better now? Like, I want to see that movie, maybe.
I mean...
that episode of a horrible 90s sitcom. I don't know. Yeah, he's a little kid. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. I kind of hate it.
Well, that was the first thing, was me telling you that kid was a dickhead.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Alex is a dickhead. Alex tells her where the gold is. Tori takes the shotgun and goes outside in search of the gold that Alex placed in the well. As soon as she grabs the gold, the leprechaun appears out of nowhere, both hands intact, and demands his gold back. Tori gives him his gold back, and he starts checking it. It says, "Sounds like me gold, looks like me gold, smells like me gold, tastes like me gold," and he kisses Tori. He then sits on the ground and starts counting it. 99 gold coins. There's one missing. No one takes the leprechaun's gold. Alex goes to get ice for Ozzy's ear. When he opens the fridge, the leprechaun jumps out and attacks him. So technically, he should be at 99% now, right?
99% strength.
99% strength, right?
No refrigerators can hold him in.
And that you don't lock refrigerators, so I get it. They throw him at the stove, and he burns his hand on the burner. Then he uses the spatula to loosen it. This gag always makes my stomach turn. I've seen it in other movies, and it's rough. The leprechaun jumps into the cabinets. They open one by one, but he's playing a game of like whack a leprechaun. He actually grabs Nathan's junk in one of these gags.
Hilarious. One of the better parts of the movie.
You like this part?
I like when he grabbed his dick. I thought it was funny.
You're like, I understand that. I understand wanting to grab this guy's dick.
Like, eat. Yeah. I mean, they should have put a sound effect in there.
That would have been great. They chase him throughout the house with the shotgun. This is about the time I think that the dad got it easy.
Oh, hold up. One thing I forgot to say. Before all this happens, Tori tries to call the police. Mm-hmm. She picks up the phone, or maybe this is right about to happen, but I think that this happened before. She calls the police, or tries to call the police, and his little hand comes out of the mouth of the phone. So, to me, that is, again, another thing that makes it very much a knockoff. It, like, the individual bits where, because in Nightmare on Elm, the girl, like, picks up the phone, and then the phone piece turns into a tongue. Yeah. Well, in this one, it just turns into a little hand, and it grabs her.
I might have that. I don't know if that's happened yet, but yeah, I remember that.
For some reason, I thought it happens right around now. It might have already happened or is about to. But then he's like rolling around on a skateboard in this scene too.
And you're like, I totally love this leprechaun now.
Well, I thought that was funny, but again, it's at that cartoon level that makes it more like a Freddy versus.
He's not Freddy Part 1. He's more like Freddy Part 3 or 4. You know, like where he got really gimmicky and making jokes and all the time. Because in Part 1 he wasn't making that many types of jokes.
But Part 1 did have the tongue part.
Yeah, I agree. But I was talking specifically about the skateboard.
Yeah.
So he then comes down the chimney. Nathan then pumps him full of lead and the leprechaun goes down. He does the horror movie thing of checking to see if he's still alive rather than just keep shooting him. Of course he's not dead. He jumps back up and runs off singing a shanty. He goes, dilly dilly dee. The leprechaun is now skateboarding throughout the house, making noises, and Nathan keeps shooting at him, wasting his ammo. Right?
Yeah.
Like, again, would you say he's doing the banana clip shotgun thing?
Yeah, he shoots like 1,000,000 times.
So, question. Does the leprechaun get hurt by being shot? Isn't that how he was stopped last time with O'Grady?
Yes.
So how did O'Grady catch him the first time? We talked about that. Did he use a leprechaun trap? Like... It's just...
You know, like, how you can get a box, and you get a stick, and you prop it up, and you tie a string to that stick, and then you yank that stick,
and then you just make sure that there's a 4-leaf clover on top of it before you do that.
Bingo!
And then you put a gold coin under there. Bingo, bango, movie done, right?
Yo, we could be...
Let's write this shit.
We could have $50,000 right now. We could split it.
Well, right now it'd be $80,000.
Yeah, right. Yeah. 80,000. Okay, so... Yeah. It's good.
You know how many comics you can make for 80,000?
Probably 3. 2.
So the leprechaun breaks through the floorboard and attacks again and takes a face full of buckshot. So
I do think he's taking damage. I meant to say this earlier. Yeah. I think he's taking damage, and I like that. He seems to be affected by it. He gets injured, and it slows him down when he gets shot. He bleeds. You know?
I guess but he was at almost 100%, so that's right. So whereas before...
We need a health bar in this movie. That's what we need.
That'd be awesome. Because whereas before, when O'Grady first got him, he was at... I guess he was close to his gold, but he didn't have it. So he was at 0%, and that's why he was injured by the shots.
I have a question for you.
But now he's not... But now he has it. He's at nearly 100%. So it's not affecting him as much.
All right, never mind.
What was the question?
Continue. I will ask this question when we get to the end, because it's a good question.
Okay. He runs away and places a crank call asking for the rest of his gold. But I thought that the phones were out. Magic. Okay. Then he calls back and asks if they need a hand, and he reaches a tiny hand through the receiver. This is what you're talking about. They realize that he wants the last piece of gold, and it's in Ozzy's stomach. Ozzy says he'll give himself up to the leprechaun. They refuse to let him do it. They say that there must be another way. They then remember Old Man O'Grady is still alive, and he lives in an old folks' home, and they're going to try to ask him how to defeat the leprechaun. As they're walking outside, they have a box of shoes that they throw at the leprechaun to distract him. It works, and Tori is able to get away.
Holy shit.
This is weirdly funny.
Holy shit. You had asked earlier, I feel like I got it now. You asked earlier, is this a slasher movie? No. This is not a slasher movie. This is a cryptid movie, like you said. Cryptid also being Dracula, right? Dracula has a specific set of rules that he follows. And there's not a huge body count in Dracula, right?
Which version? Like,
well, just the canon,
okay.
rough canon or whatever, right? Like, he kills some people, right? There's some bodies, but he also has like these rules, like you can defeat him, like you can't defeat a slasher generally. Like they're not killable.
There's always sequels.
Yeah, they're not killable. But in this case, and in these cryptid type movies, like there is a way to kill this creature, and you kind of know they have weaknesses. Like vampires have weakness to the cross. He has weakness to the 4-leaf clover. Like vampires can't be let into your house without you asking them to be let in. He has abilities with doors. You know, if you lock them, you're good. If you leave them unlocked, you're fucked.
Well, if you lock them and he's at 100%, you're fucked.
Yeah. How many pieces of gold does he have?
So it is a cryptid.
It's a cryptid. It's not a slasher movie, and also we get to it. This doesn't have a huge body count. The people who die are like non-essential characters.
Right.
So
also, he doesn't slash anybody. He bites and he magics.
He
pogos. As Tori is driving down the road, the leprechaun transports to the car and grabs on. He loses his grip and comically crashes into a fence wearing rollerblades and leaves a Wile E. Coyote type cutout of himself. So it's just they're going with it.
Yeah.
You know? He then continues pursuit. Tori has made it to the old folks' home past the lackluster security. As she's walking the halls looking for the room, she sees a shadow that resembles the leprechaun, but it turns out to be a mop. That's pretty funny. She makes it to O'Grady's room and says the leprechaun has made it out of the crate. O'Grady has his back to her and says there's only one way to kill a leprechaun. Then turns around, and in the biggest twist ever recorded, it's the leprechaun who says, "I'll never tell you." I wasn't expecting this. Did they get you on this one?
You got me. It's not a jump scare, though.
No, it's not. No. It's just a twist. Tori runs out of the room. The leprechaun chases her in his wheelchair. This is kind of frightening because they sped up the video and he looks impossibly fast.
Because it's a vehicle, and he has abilities with vehicles.
Well, if he had abilities, he wouldn't need to manually do the wheels. Right? Like, he would just be able to magic that shit.
The skates, too. They speed up the skates earlier in that scene. It is a little creepy looking.
Yeah. So she makes it to the elevator, and then O'Grady crashes through the ceiling. He said the leprechaun came back for him. He knew he would. Again, Michael Myers' timeline here. When did he have time to do this? But, sure. He says it's too late for him, but you can save yourself. A 4-leaf clover from the clover patch beside the well. The clover has to touch him. Then he can be killed. This side quest is over. She makes it back to the farm with the leprechaun in hot pursuit. Why didn't he just teleport back? Like, I can understand chasing her because he doesn't know at that time where she was going.
His MP gauge was low. You gotta wait for the magic power to, that's on a time limit.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the game, right? Also, what does he care about her for? Why not continue to attack the others for the coin? Like, she doesn't have the coin. The coin's over there with them. Why follow her?
She's the main character.
Yeah. She makes it back and starts looking for a 4-leaf clover. As she does, the leprechaun grabs her hand and says, "Little girls shouldn't look for 4-leaf clovers."
Again,
very weird.
Placeholder dialogue. Like, they were gonna write something good, and then it just never got to the page.
They're like, yeah, we'll get to it. And then on the day of shooting, did you write that? Did you? Oh, just go with it.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll do it later.
We'll do it in
we'll dub something.
Yeah.
And then...
She escapes his grip and runs away with him in pursuit. She runs into the forest and comes across a cop car, which she runs to, and then finds the dead cop. The leprechaun attacks her and she jams the nightstick in his eye. He then tears the door off the car, so he's fucking at full strength here if he can tear the fucking door off.
I mean,
Again,
MP gauge maxed,
Yeah.
gold coins maxed,
Yeah.
almost maxed.
He also grabs one of the dead officer's eyes out of his face and puts it into his own and says, "An eye for an eye, me dear." Great practical effect here. I thought this looked great. What did you think about it?
I thought it looked fine.
You were ready for the movie to be over.
I feel like the practical effects in this movie, save for one part, are not great. And we'll get to that one part, which I do think is good.
So you didn't think this effect was good?
Nah. I didn't think it was good. I didn't think any of the gore looked good.
Okay. So Nathan then shoots the leprechaun, which knocks him out.
Oh, I do like when he gets shot and gets bloody, and there is a little like splash of his. Yeah, he bleeds green, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So Tori tells them about the 4-leaf clover, which they run back and start trying to find. Meanwhile,
also kind of comical when you have like your cast of characters just on the ground rummaging for it. It's not visually interesting. I feel like this director like didn't think about these things. He's like, well, we'll just have like narratively it makes sense, but there is nothing visually interesting about like 4 people looking on the ground
as your
fucking climax. As your fucking climax.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Alex has removed the bear trap from the ground and placed it in the barn, saying he's not afraid of the leprechaun. As the camera pans up, we see the leprechaun is sitting in the barn looking down at Alex. Tori says they'll never find a 4-leaf clover. Ozzy says not to lose faith, and eventually she finds another one, not before yelling at Ozzy for his fantastical view on life. So again, she's mean at him.
That made no sense, by the way. She's like, what's with your fantastical view of life? Blah, blah, like, you're fighting a fucking leprechaun right now, bro. What do you mean? Like, he's not being fantastical. He's like, he's as normal as everything else. Like, she's
being obtuse. Like,
yeah.
Obviously, you're being stupid when you have seen the leprechaun. You've shot the leprechaun. The leprechaun has bitten you. It scratched you.
Yeah. She's like, don't make fun of his worldview when we now know that there are leprechauns in this universe.
Yeah.
Like,
so back at the barn, the leprechaun attacks Alex. Ozzy says, "Stop it. If you want, I swallowed the last piece of gold," to which the leprechaun says, "Then it's your belly I want," which is a pretty good line.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good line. The leprechaun chases Ozzy, kicking Nathan in his hurt shin on the way, which I fucking...
And then he talks shit, too. What is he? He has, like, some kind of line where he's
I don't remember what he said.
He's like, how's that feel? Or some shit. He's kind of funny.
I love that part. The leprechaun eventually catches up to Ozzy and attacks him, slashing his face, yelling for his last coin.
He gets his belt buckle, and that's what he's using as this, like, murder weapon.
It's pretty cool. Alex is caught up with them and takes the 4-leaf clover and wraps it up in his chewing gum and uses his slingshot to sling it into the leprechaun's mouth, saying, "Fuck you, Lucky Charms," which we talked about earlier. The leprechaun immediately starts choking, gurgling sounds coming from him as well as disgusting ooze, his face melting, then a light shoots out of him and he falls down the well.
This is the scene. This is a showstopper. It looks fucking cool. Like, he's gooey, he's goopy, you can see like the bits of his skull and his like sharp teeth, and it's like a melty gremlin is what it looks like.
Yeah. And
then at some point it's like I don't think Warwick Davis is anything. It's like all animatronic because, you know, it's like his like flesh is melting off, and so it's just like kind of pieces of him. Looks super cool.
Yeah, it looks great. It's an absolutely great effect. Ozzy is okay, even joking around with Alex. Everything is fine, or is it? We see the leprechaun climbing back up the well, his face melted down to reveal the skull behind it. This looks amazing.
Yeah.
It looks fucking fantastic. And he goes, "I want me gold!" Nathan hits him with the butt of his gun and throws gasoline down the well and sets it on fire. A loud explosion blows up the well, and now he's done. The next morning, the cops finally show up as the camera zooms out on the survivors. Then we see the well, still on fire, and we hear the leprechaun in voiceover say, "I'll not rest till I have me gold. Curse this well, that me soul shall dwell, till I find me magic that breaks me spell." Fade to black. And that's the end of the movie. So, just a couple bits of trivia here. In an interview with Fangoria, Mark Jones stated that he began writing the script in 1985 and spent a long time developing the Leprechaun character, which he initially envisioned as a horrible, murderous creature, but which became a more comedic and developed character before filming began. Warwick Davis, who had experienced a dry spell after playing the protagonist in Willow in 1988, liked the script and was excited to play against type. Jennifer Aniston, who was an unknown at the time, impressed the director and he fought to have her cast.
I think the casting is good.
Of her in general, or all
the whole movie, I think.
I mean, I didn't even realize, but yeah, we didn't see the dad after he gets.
He's in like 2 scenes or 3 scenes, like yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I had a problem with the character of Ozzy, but the casting, the actor did a good job.
Yeah.
The director also had a career in American television shows. Desiring to make a film, he decided that a low-budget horror film was his best opportunity. He was inspired by the Lucky Charms commercials to create a leprechaun character, only his twist was to turn the character into an antagonist. The director was further influenced by the film Critters from 1986, which featured small antagonists. Jones brought the concept to Trimark, who were looking to get into film production and distribution. And finally, according to Warwick Davis, the movie was originally planned as a straightforward horror film, but Davis himself sought to add more comedic elements, and the director agreed with the tonal shift, and they shot it as a horror comedy. Several scenes had to be reshot after the producers insisted that the film be made gorier to appeal to older audiences. So I would wonder what this movie would look like as a straight up horror movie, and I think it'd be forgettable.
I think they made one like that.
Oh, like
I think there was. I think they rebooted it as a straight horror.
Okay.
In like 3 years ago or so, like recently, I think.
Did you see it?
No, I did. Come on.
All right, so that's Leprechaun. So what'd you think of the movie?
It's not a good movie, but it was entertaining to have. Like I said, I had it on while I was working, so it's hard to go hard on this movie because it is so low budget. I mean, it has almost a single location. 90% of the movie is just shot out at that house.
Right.
And I kind of like the lore. Like, it's like a fucked up, stupid comedy Dracula, where you have this creature that has a set of rules, kind of, and the movie's precious about its protagonists. None of them die. Mm-hmm. They get hurt, which is cool, but this movie likes its main characters.
The only death was a cop?
And
Grady and the
grandma and the guy who gets pogoed. There's like 4 deaths. Oh yeah,
there's 4 deaths. That's right.
But they're all like non-essential. They're non-main characters. So, I mean, I don't know. It's really hard to rate this movie, but if I like an honest rating is probably a 2 star.
Are you jumping ahead of me?
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I know the format of this show. I've been on it before.
So, as far as the main character, Jennifer Aniston was great. I think she did a great job. Let me start that over. She was good. She did an okay job. Like, she's not in the pantheon of final girls, I don't think she's up there at all. But she did an okay job. Like, I don't see, other than her being cute, anything that would have been like, yo, she's going to be a star from this role.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's hard to predict that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Given this movie.
Yeah.
In fact, like, what about those other people? They were just as fucking good as her. Like, and they didn't go on to be stars. Like, the kid actor, not that bad for a kid actor in the 90s. The hunk,
yeah.
He had kind of charisma. He had big arms. He's a beefy looking dude. Why wasn't that guy in more movies,
Yeah, I'm like, fuck them kids. I hate kid actors, but the kid who played Alex was fine.
I know, you loved him at first. You loved him.
But then he was a dick, and they're like, fuck it. So, what we do here, I know you've been on, this is your the first person to appear on the show 3 times.
Damn.
Coming off the bench as the MVP. Really appreciate it.
Whoop.
So you know that we rate movies on an upside down cross scale here. Out of 5 upside down crosses, what would you give this movie?
I give it 2. But I enjoyed it, and I think that this would be at least a 3-star if you watch it in a group with your friends. And your friends are into these kind of dumb, cheesy B-movie horror films.
I'm just checking to see what I gave this movie. Okay, so you gave it 2 upside down crosses. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I think I've given it in the past 3 upside down crosses. But just talking about this movie, it's actually this is the first time it's ever happened. It made me give it less of a rating, just because of all the inconsistencies in the plot and in his power, and so I think I'll have to give it 2.5 upside down crosses.
I'm surprised that you gave it 3, because when I watched this movie, I kind of got the feeling that you wouldn't like it for a couple of reasons. One, it's not very much like a slasher, like I said. 2,
I don't only like slashers.
It's a comedy. It's
I like
more
horror comedies.
Okay, but you don't, though, because you specifically say you don't like the Freddy parts where he gets funny.
I don't. That's right. I don't.
So
You're right.
that's why I was like, I'm surprised that you gave this a 3-star.
Well, that's a very good point, in that I don't see any of the Freddy movies as horror comedies, and I don't think that they market them as that. They market them as horror movies, and then Freddy's just a fucking jokester. And that's what I have problems with. I don't have any problems with horror comedies. The horror comedies are some of my favorite movies. It's that that marketing that I don't like. I don't know. But,
I hear that. Yeah, this movie is as funny as it is horror. Like, it's equal parts.
Yeah.
If not more comedy.
So typically what we do here is, in order for you to be fully absolved of your horror movie sin, I would assign you 3 movies. However, you've been on twice. You got 6 movies to watch, and I mean, you've probably watched 1, and so I feel like you're going to be burning in the pits of hell. That's on me. That's on not.
I can't remember.
That's not on me. That's on you.
I can't remember which movies you asked.
I sent you an email with this information, Zach. So
okay. Well, I've seen at least 1, maybe 2.
Okay.
I have a question for you though.
Okay. What was the question?
All right.
And then we'll talk about what we're gonna do to you.
Okay. Okay. All right. Here's my question to you for the 3 parts. You love Dead by Daylight.
Yes, I love Dead by Daylight.
If Leprechaun became a downloadable character killer, what would his abilities be?
Fuck. They're actually talking about him being in there.
Yo, I don't want to cut you off, but I just thought of a good one.
Tell me.
Okay. When someone leaps over an edge, he can teleport to him. Because that's his fucking power.
Yeah, right? Teleporting, right?
Or he could know, maybe. Maybe he knows.
Well, all killers know when you fast vault something, but maybe when you slow vault.
Yeah, when you slow vault, maybe, or like know as in like it like lights up or something.
Okay, you know how doors, right? He has power to teleport at doors, and they have chests in the game. So when you open a chest, he appears there.
Perfect.
And so instead of there being an item in there, it's a fucking leprechaun, and he can swing at you.
I love it.
That'd be fucking cool. What else? Yeah, he'd have to have a hex of some sort. You'd have to find his gold. Okay, so like right now the Pinhead's in the game, right?
Yeah.
Have you played against Pinhead yet? You haven't really played.
Haven't.
So he has the box, right? His what is it called? The
puzzle box.
Yeah, but it's got a name. I have to. I'm sorry. I cannot be on this podcast and not know the name.
It is called the puzzle box. In Hellbound Heart, that's what it's called.
The lament configuration. So in Dead by Daylight, the Pinhead's lament configuration is there, and if you don't go to it, pick it up, and solve the puzzle within a certain amount of time, all these hooks start coming out from everywhere, and you can't do anything. You can't fix generators or anything like that. So they have that in the game. So for the Leprechaun, they could do something with his pot of gold, where you have to pick it up, and if you pick it up, he knows that you picked it up, and you're one shot down if you have it.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Or you have to return pieces of gold to a bucket or something. I don't know.
That'd be fucking dope. Oh, that's good. I want to go play Dead by Daylight now.
You're welcome for that question.
All right, so what I'm gonna say is that there's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Leprechaun movies. The last one coming out in 2018. Leprechaun 4 is Leprechaun in Space. Leprechaun 5 is Leprechaun in the Hood, and Leprechaun 6 is Back to the Hood. These 3 movies, I think we should watch together.
I will watch those movies with you.
Okay, because one of them, Leprechaun in Space, Part 4, is done by Brian Trenchard Smith, who's actually done some really good horror movies. So I want to see that one.
I've never even heard of that one, but that sounds hilarious.
Leprechaun in Space?
Yeah,
right? Like, how yeah. All right, so that's what we're going to do. That's going to be in order to be fully absolved from your horror movie sin. All right, Zach, thank you so much again for coming off the bench as the 6th man. You're the fucking MVP. Please let my listeners know where they can follow you, everything you got going on, so they can give you some money. I know you had a Time Travel Tales book come out a couple years ago. That's still for sale.
Actually, I was just looking at my Amazon, or not my Amazon. I was looking at my Wells Fargo bank account, and I was seeing, hey, I actually make some money off of that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you have it like direct deposit. You don't even look at it.
Yeah, and I was like, okay.
And it's only set up for that.
Yeah.
And what book is it that you're making funny off of?
Time Travel Tales. Check it out. It's a book I edited. It's a book that I put a lot of time in and effort into, and so did all the authors that are in it. It's called Chappie Fiction's Time Travel Tales, and it's on Amazon, and you can read it for free if you're on Kindle Unlimited, and I do receive kickback from that. So if you read it on Kindle Unlimited, I get royalties for that, so that's awesome. So check that out, and then next year, if you're into horror, comic books, be searching on Kickstarter for House of Blood. It's a 4-issue, 1-volume, 13 horror stories. Miguel's in one of them. Miguel wrote one of them with me, and it's awesome. It's going to be awesome. A lot of great art.
When it comes out, when he finally launches the Kickstarter, we're going to be putting it on the My Horror Confessional Twitter and Instagram, so you'll see it, and I'll even promote it on my personal page and all that. So you're definitely going to see it. So
I appreciate that. Chappie Zach on Twitter. I think it's the same thing on Instagram. I don't post a whole lot, but I will be blasting all of that stuff whenever I get any publisher deals or when we go live on Kickstarter.
Cool. And if you want to follow me, you can follow the show on Twitter at MHCPod, like My Horror Confessional Pod. On Instagram, we're My Horror Confessional. If you want to email the show, if you have any suggestions or anything, it's myhorrorconfessional@gmail.com. The music was done by Taylor Fox. You can follow her on Instagram at @TheTaylorFox. She is rapped on her album with her band Great Hag. That's going to be coming out in the future. I heard some of the tracks and they sound great. And so when that comes out as well, we'll be blasting that. The artwork was done by my friend Cap Mikey. You can follow him on Instagram at Captain_Mikey_arts. That's it, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you later.